Hey everyone, this is Keith Scott from out in Sydney, Australia. I'm one of the voices of Bullwinkle J. Moose. It's time to watch Relentless and Unstoppable. And so give it up for your main hosts, Douglas Kenny and Andy McPhee.
Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny and welcome to Relentless and Unstoppable. We have another amazing guest coming on the channel today, so please hit like and subscribe. And after this episode, please stay tuned to the RNU channel for more amazing guests. Let's get this on!
Hey everybody, how you doing? Just a quick little share of why I started Relentless and Unstoppable. It was for one very simple reason, because of Doug Kenny. Nothing to do with me at all, zero. I was just coaching Doug, and he took on the coaching and mentoring, and he made all the changes. He took all the suggestions from his parents as well as my coaching, but it was all about Doug, his breakthrough and his weight loss, his willingness to accept that he is dealing with high functioning autism and other issues, but he's never quit, he's never given up. So we did one interview with him to share his story, and then we decided to start interviewing other people, and Doug has now taken over the whole channel, and he does all the interviews, he runs everything. He's just an amazing young man. So RNU was born from simply what an amazing young man Doug is, and his story needed to be shared.
Yeah, what were your thoughts when Augustus went up the pipe?
My thoughts or Mike Teavee's thoughts?
Mike Teavee's thoughts.
Mike Teavee does not like it when the other kids go away and things happen to them. The one that he seemed to enjoy the most, I think, was, Violet. He's a little concerned, but he's poking her in the stomach, and he's kind of a little curious about it. When Julie is running around, Veruca, when she's running around before she goes into the educated educator, he's very into it. He's having a lot of fun, and he's got his hands on his knees, and he's laughing and looking at it. But then when she goes down, he's again concerned. It dawns on him that he may be next. Yeah, when the actual bad things happen to the kids, then he's concerned. But everything leading up to it, he's fine.
Yeah, I sort of like how Wonka, when Veruca trashed the room, I sort of like how he facepalmed as if to say, okay, this girl's not getting my factory.
Right. Well, I think that's right. And he and Roy Kinnear did a lot of interesting stuff in there, too, with the playing with the necktie and talking back and forth. I think Roy Kinnear was one of the funniest guys on set. That's Veruca's dad.
Yeah, did you ever interact with him and have fun?
We all interacted. You know, we all spoke English and were in Germany, and we're working on this together. So I absolutely interacted with, except for the people in the vignettes, as we were saying, that were in that's almost like a whole other movie, where there's a detective scene or the computer scene and all that stuff. In terms of the people that went into the factory, we saw each other every day for, in my case, 9 weeks. So yeah, I interacted with Roy, and he was very cool.
Yeah. How did they create the golden gooses being so big compared to regular geese?
Yeah, that's superimposing. It's CG, basically. Not CG, but it's superimposing. They take a photo of the geese, and then from fairly close up, and then they take a picture of what's beneath it from further away, and then you put the two images together, and it looks like the geese are really big.
Yeah. Do you like the line by Roy Kinnear where when Veruca's like, who said I can't have a golden goose? And he's like...
And with a funny hat. Right?
You can sort of tell by Roy Kinnear's face that he's not being used to being told it's not for sale whenever he wants to buy something.
No, he's a rich man, exactly. He's a very rich man, and he's not used to being told no and by anyone except for Veruca, of course, who says no to him all the time. I like that line a lot, the man with the funny hat, actually. When I was doing a thing at Alamo Drafthouse movie theaters, once a year, Veruca and I, in September, I don't know, do you happen to know Alamo? They used to have one in Phoenix, actually. Do you know Alamo Drafthouse Theaters?
I believe so. I think we have a couple of them. Yeah.
Okay, so you used to. I don't think they're there anymore, but they might be. I think they're gone. But anyway, Julie and I will travel around to the various theaters around the country. I actually just got back. I did 15 cities in 17 days, visiting Alamo theaters. So much of the time I don't watch the movie, but the other day I watched it, and that always gets a laugh out of me. The man with the funny hat. I just think it's funny. He says it under his breath. You almost don't hear it, but I agree with you. I think it's a funny line.
Yeah. Tell us exactly what happened in that scary tunnel.
So they put flashing lights around us, and then they put on those scary projections, and they were actually projected on the wall behind us, so we could see them. And we're just kids, and the things that are in there with the centipede and the chicken, and I think that there were other things that they showed us that you maybe didn't see, or that we probably blocked out because I don't remember any of what they were. But we were in there for a while, and they're shaking us and they're showing us flashing lights. So we're all already kind of disoriented. And then Gene did his read of the poem, which was, kind of insane, really. And so it was sort of like with Slugworth. They wanted to see our actual reactions, so they just started pointing the camera at us while he was doing it, and you could see that we were surprised.
I would have been surprised, but Gene Wilder kept his composure like he was doing this so nonchalantly throughout the ride.
Yep. He's a good actor.
Yeah, and did you notice that the boat only had enough for the guests that were remaining?
Yes, I've heard this theory. It's a conspiracy theory. I know about it. I also know about the Grandpa Joe conspiracy theories. I've also heard the 7 deadly sins that we represent, and on and on. So, sure. I think that people try to find meaning in chaos, and so that's where a lot of these theories come from.
Yeah. Tell us about the lickable wallpaper.
Well, Peter, who played Charlie, when asked this, says the wallpaper tasted like wallpaper. They did spread a little bit of jam on the wall for us. So until that was gone, it did change the taste a little bit, but it didn't taste like amazing, sweets all the time. Sorry, that's going to be the answer to a lot of these sorts of questions, but
Yeah. How did
yeah.
you make it look like you ate exploding candy that blew up your mouth, and then you got up from the pans and said, "Boy, that's great stuff."
So the thing you're asking about is the smoke, and the smoke came out from here. It was upstage, so if I'm facing this way, they had a tube running upstage like this, and then the smoke came out of the tube, and it looked like it was coming out of my mouth. But first they tied a wire to the back of my jeans, or the belt that I was wearing, and they yanked me into a bunch of pots and pans, which were copper. I mean, they were real, and I got bonked by one of them. But I really enjoyed that, actually, the stunt in general. And they only did it once. I got up, they made sure they had a good shot, and then they moved on. I wanted to do it again.
Nice. And what was the bubble room with the fizzy lifting drinks like?
So I was in there. Of course, Charlie and Grandpa Joe went up there. They were on a flying rig with wires. And when we were told to look up, we had to look up, and so of course the bubbles would get in your eye, and they were soapy, so that would hurt a little bit. But it's just another example of a bunch of rooms that they made for us, all of which were unusual and adventuresome. And I've likened it to, I'm working over here, but meanwhile over there they're making all this other stuff, and it's like they're building a Disneyland, and we're the only ones that get to ride on the rides. Like how many people were in that bubble room? I don't know. The people building it and like 5 other people or something like that, So the fact that I was very lucky to be in a movie that is so well loved and was such a special thing is not lost on me. And I understand that it has ripples all through society, which is crazy, but I'm just a little part of it, but I did my part okay, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure you've heard this theory before, but I just want your opinion on it.
Sure.
If how do you think Wonka figured out that Charlie and Grandpa Joe had sampled the drinks if he wasn't physically there to see it?
Sure. Well, I mean, these days I'd say he would have little nanny cams planted or something like that. He just had security footage. I mean, they probably had security cameras back then, but I think an Oompa Loompa is more likely, don't you? That there was an Oompa Loompa hiding somewhere and that he reported back to him. For all that, he could have had sensors. I mean, he's a culinary genius, right? So he could have had sensors on the wall, and when they bumped into the wall, it could have. I mean, if it being Willy Wonka, when they bumped into the wall, that could have caused a chicken to run across the thing, and then that bumped into started eating, and then it rang a bell, and that's how Wonka knew. You know what I mean? Like, he's that kind of a guy. Like, do you know who Rube Goldberg is?
Yeah, Rube Goldberg. I've seen machines like that.
That's it. So, that would be more likely a more Wonka-like response, I think, to your question.
Gee, that's all we have for Relentless and Unstoppable. So tune into the next episode to hear more amazing stories from amazing guests. This is Keith Scott from Sydney, Australia, saying so long, and I'm smarter than the average bear. Gee.